expert training. So we'll get started with the Exadata workshop, and I'm going to be your trainer today, and let's get started. Yeah. Okay. I request to mute yourself. Yeah, if there are some questions, we can unmute. There will be a Q&A session at the end of this training session. Okay, the training agenda, since this is an introductory session, I'm just briefing the whole training exercise, what we'll be going through, the agenda for the training. So we are going to we're going to learn about Exadata. So Exadata as such, an engineered system. So we have to understand the overview, the architecture of the Exadata, and what are the key capabilities of Exadata, and then some of the initial configuration stages we'll be discussing, and then we'll be discussing the architecture of the database server, and we also have something called storage server along with Exadata. Storage server was something that database as a traditional database, we were never dealt with storage. So in Exadata, we're going to deal with storage as well. Along with storage, we are also going to deal with network. So InfiniBand, we're going to discuss about InfiniBand, and then we'll move into Exadata features, which are most critical component of the Exadata, and we'll spend time in learning about the IORM, which is called Input-Output Resource Management. We'll talk about the recommendations for optimization, database performance, and using SmartScan. And there are other features as well. I've just not highlighted in the summary page. Then we'll talk about consolidation. Why would customer buy Exadata? What are the recommendations that are coming in, and how do you consolidate your IT infrastructure? Okay. Then how do you migrate your existing estate of database from regular VMs or commodity servers to Exadata machine? Okay. Then we will go and talk about how do you monitor and manage an Exadata? How do you look into the alerts? How do you resolve issues? So we'll talk about more about monitoring each of the component: database server, InfiniBand, storage server, and other components which are surrounding the Exadata machine. Okay, and we'll talk about some of the most useful monitoring tools that a DBA will be using on a regular basis. I should not call them as a DBA. In Exadata world, the DBA has been renamed, or any system administrator has been renamed into a different role, which is called DMA. We'll talk about that in the next few slides. Then comes the regular operational activities: backup recovery, maintenance of Exadata, patching Exadata, upgrading Exadata, scaling out. So as demand increases, scale out happens, upgrade has to happen. So we'll talk about how in Exadata all these are covered, and also all these topics have some kind of practicals associated with it. Okay. So let me get into the objective of this course. What exactly we are trying to learn from this? Okay. So we're going to try to understand the key features. Okay. The benefits, the capabilities of an Exadata machine. The architecture is something brand new. It's an engineered system. So you have to understand what components are in the system, how exactly these are going to be aligned to my requirement. Okay. Then comes initial configuration of Exadata. Initial configuration is Exadata is something like a provisioning of an Exadata, how it happens, and who are all the parties involved in this, and what are the steps that are involved in configuring an Exadata. Okay, so then we'll get into the various approaches towards migrating into Exadata. So how do you migrate your databases which are traditionally available in your on-premise system? How do you get these databases into Exadata and you consolidate them? Resource management. So in the traditional database world, we have been living with some kind of other servers, single node servers, dual node rack servers, or 4-node clusters, and we have never dealt with storages. We never dealt with network. So in Exadata, everything is going to come together. So how are we going to manage the resources, like which is very critical on an Exadata deployment? monitoring Exadata. So out of this course, you will be understanding also how do you monitor Exadata and resolve some of the incidents that happens on an Exadata machine. Okay, maintaining, upgrading, and scale out any of the scaling features. We're going to deal with how do actually customers re-rack. Okay, when customer buys a smaller footprint of Exadata, which is called a quarter rack, how will they scale up in terms of adding the number of nodes, adding number of storages nodes, so that they can increase their portfolio. Okay, so we're going to, these are the key objectives that takeaways that will be there from this session, and along with sufficient practicals which will help us to understand how a DB or a DMA can actually manage Exadata. Okay, so why Exadata and how it is important? Okay, Oracle strategy has completely changed on the Exadata platform. Okay, from the acquisition of Sun, Oracle has a very strong footprint on the storage and the server side. Okay, along with this, they have the network. So Oracle has bundled all together and they are marketing toward these Exadata towards enterprise business. Okay, which is delivering extreme performance, and it is completely engineered. So we will more talk about what is the meaning of engineered, why Oracle is calling engineered systems. Okay, and also we'll talk about how these components are integrated. Okay. So customer as such, when customer as such, if they are telling I have an Exadata, it means something to them. They own a system, engineered system, which is completely optimized. Customer need not spend their efforts in terms of building a system. I would give an example. Let's say you want to buy a car, right? You go to the shop, we buy the car. So we don't buy the parts, we don't build it, we don't make a car and then we drive on it. A very clear example. Out of the showroom, we get a car and we start using the car. So customers are in line with that kind of. They need business, or they need vendors who are providing such kind of services. They do not want to spend their IT business to look into in terms of building an Exadata or building an enterprise system which can handle their workloads. Okay, so let's get into why choose Exadata as a career. Okay, this is for people like us who are actually dealing with administrations. Okay, why would you choose Exadata? Okay, so Oracle is betting big on Exadata, and Oracle is very aggressive in selling Exadata, and customers are willing to choose Exadata because of the features and the business strategy what Oracle is giving them, and the speed in which they can onboard any of their businesses into the system. So customer is having an advantage over the years, and this makes customers to choose Exadata. Okay, and I'm talking about enterprise customers. Okay, these customers are big banks, very large enterprise systems. They actually go and choose Exadata for a reason, because it's engineered and it is having the performance right away from out of the box. They don't need to invest time in terms of optimizing things out there. Okay, so when we choose as a career path, we call ourselves as DMAs. DMAs are Database Machine Administrators. This is a new term which is coming up for the career level or the role defined as DMA. DMAs are important now to any organization. Okay, so just to give you an example, if it is a non-Exadata world or commodity world, you will be having a database administrator, you'll be having a storage administrator, and you would be having a network administrator. These are the key three administrators which will be there in an IT organization. So with Exadata, for the database world, this composition is a little bit changing. So you have one guy who is actually managing all of this, and this means that If you are a DBA, you have to learn how to go about learning the network, how to go about learning the storage. If you are a storage administrator, you have to learn about the database, learn about the network. If you are a network administrator, learn about the database and the storage. So this training session is going to help you to overcome that and understand all of these areas. Okay, so this consolidation into DMA brings a lot of benefit by becoming very close to an organization. Okay, so you get directly attached to an organization because you are playing a very key role and an important role in an organization, because you are looked upon as a DMA who manages their customers' critical data, customer storage, customers network, and you know how to manage all of this. Okay, and then eventually you get a better salary and you get a different career level for yourself. Okay, so Exadata Database Machine Administrator, what will he do? This is more important. Before we get into an Exadata, we're going to talk about what is DMA and what he will be doing. What are his tasks, roles, and responsibilities on a day-to-day basis? This is very, very important to understand, so that you align yourself in a learning path and you define yourself as a DMA. Okay, so there's no requirement to have there's actually no requirement for you to actually study the outside spectrum of Exadata. You have to learn what is within Exadata and the components of Exadata. Okay, some of the roles and responsibilities of DMA are database administration, grid infrastructure administration, operating system administration, Exadata storage administration, network administration, hardware installation and maintenance. Okay, so these are the areas, or these are the roles and responsibilities of a typical DMA would be doing on an Exadata customer environment. Okay, you might be also, there are some vendors are also hosting Exadata. So if you join those organizations, you would be actually doing a role of any one of this, or a combination of this, or all of this. Okay, so if you split on a day-to-day basis, this is from some of the experience over the years which I had. So majority of the time it will be the database which will be running on the system, right? So you have to deal with the database. So 60% of your time goes into database administration, 20% of the time goes into storage administration, and 15% goes into Linux administration, and a small amount of time and effort has to be spent by a DMA onto network, InfiniBand, and all these areas. So what exactly this means? If you are a DBA, you're well ahead. You're going to use 60% of what you learned, and you have to learn the rest. Okay, so 20% of understanding a storage would make you as a DMA, and 15% of understanding a Linux administration would make you a DMA. So what exactly the storage administrator does? Oracle in Oracle Exadata, there are a lot of commands and utilities which are new that has to be learned, and there are patching, maintenance procedures which has to be learned, and there are tools available which will help you to perform these activities. So we are going to, over the course, we're going to learn some of these tools and how we use it and how we manage an Exadata machine. Okay, why organization will choose Exadata over others? Okay, so this is an interesting question anybody can have. Why would customer choose Exadata? Why several customers are going towards an Exadata? So it's an OLTP warehousing mixed workload environment. Okay, so if you design a OLTP environment, OLTP is nothing but your ERP system or any kind of transaction systems. If you have a system designed to run OLTP, on that system you will not be able to run your warehousing system. The reason is OLTP system is optimized. The CPU, the memory has been optimized for OLTP transactions. So if you want to run your warehouse system, you have to build a new system and read the data from OLTP and then get into the warehouse system and then process it. And similarly, vice versa. If you build a warehouse system, you cannot implement your OLTP onto that. But how, but Exadata has been engineered in such a way that all this kind of mixed workload can run together. And this is only possible because Exadata storage server, Exadata InfiniBand, Exadata compute nodes are all patched together and tied up together. If these are dislocated, right? When I say dislocated, the compute may be an HP system, the storage may be from Sun vendor or any other vendor, right? They don't talk to each other because they speak different languages. The database server speaks a different language, storage server speaks a different language. They talk through APIs. In Exadata, you're going to see these two talk together in one common language so that the workload is shared. We are going to talk about how storage server is going to optimize your workload. Okay, so most advanced hardware, so industry standard, some of the cutting edge technology is inside Exadata. Okay, it's a fully scale out servers, intelligent storage. We are going to talk about what is that intelligent storage, and this is something which most of the organizations were actually looking for. Okay. And the InfiniBand is going to power the full Exadata machine with high-end speed network fabrics. Okay, most advanced softwares. So we're going to have Oracle database softwares. Your storage server is running on a most optimized software. Networking is optimized. It's standardized. It is optimized and hardened end to end. Thousands of engineers have been a brains of Exadata. Oracle has invested a lot of people to actually test, to actually perform a lot of actions on Exadata. And you get a product which is actually built and given to you, and you just have to start working on it. So customer actually starts working on it. So we go to the showroom, we buy the car, we book the car, and that's it. Once the car is delivered, we just start using it. We should not be building a car, right? Okay, why organization will choose over others? Same topic. Pre-built, optimized, out of the box. Okay, when I say out of the box, here you assume that there are two projects running parallel to each other. Okay, two customers. One customer has taken a decision to purchase an Exadata. So he has called Oracle and he has placed an order with Exadata. And let's assume the estimated delivery date is 15 days. Because it has to be shipped, it has to be packaged, it has to be securely placed in a customer data center. So assume that 15 days. Okay. Now, assume another customer is actually going through a similar process, but he's going to build everything from scratch. Now, what he's going to do, he's going to identify the servers, he's going to identify the storage, what kind of network. This all involves a lot of people, right? Too many people will be involved. Too many work items. A project plan has to be done, and you have to work with the IT department, and IT department is busy doing this. By the time just to make out a plan itself will take 15 days. Okay. Now then comes you actually measure, you actually diagnose, you tune, reconfigure on the system. Then there is something called multi-vendor finger pointing. So multi-vendoring is nothing but you have your VMs or your servers running from IBM. Your storage is somewhere from HP. Now there is a performance problem. The server guys would point the hands towards the storage guys. The storage guys would point the hands towards the network team, or something will be going on. Now Oracle is not going to make customer to deal with those things. It's all within Oracle. The compute, the storage, the network, everything out of the box. Inside the box is optimized. Then customer has to test, debug, fail modes. He has to do all the failure testing and everything. Now all these are tested, pre-configured, assembled, right? So out of the box, optimized system, in 15 days, you'll be up and running, and you can start installing or migrating your database into Exadata. Whereas this is going to take months of efforts. This is days, this is months. Okay, so Exadata Engineered System transfer, less risk and better results. Okay, it's a ready-to-run packaged system, and it runs all your existing database workload. No changes required as such. You just have to migrate the database and start using it. Okay, and this is also a building block for the Oracle's vision into cloud. So Oracle Cloud is also running purely on Exadata fully engineered systems. Okay, so seamless upgrades and expansion. First, customer will start with something called quarter rack. Over the course, we will be learning what is quarter rack. Quarter rack is nothing but the minimal configuration. Then customer will do an evaluation, and based on his requirement, if customer wants more computing power, more CPU, or more memory, more storage, more network bandwidth, customer can opt for a quarter rack upgrade. Then comes quarter rack to half rack. Okay, then comes half rack to full rack. So basically, Oracle provides one box in which you can actually, one rack, R-A-C-K, and then you can actually expand within that. Okay, so one full rack can be expanded. So we're going to see over the course what does a quarter rack configuration has, what does a half rack configuration has, what does a full rack configuration has in the system. So Oracle Linux and Oracle Solaris, these are the two operating systems that are supported by Exadata. So Oracle Linux is a proven technology, and it has been somebody mute yourself, please. Okay. Please. Break. Can somebody confirm if I'm audible, please? Okay, let's get started.
Yeah, it is audible.
Yeah, thank you. So, okay, so we were talking about the operating system that's going to run on Exadata. Okay, so Oracle Linux and Oracle Solaris, these are the two variants of operating system that can be installed on an Exadata. So this is during the initial configuration, this has to be opted by the customer that what kind of operating system they can run. They cannot run a mixed version of Oracle Linux on some of the nodes and Oracle Solaris. This is a very key decision. But most of the workloads are actually running on Oracle Linux because there is a ease of migration. Most of the customers are on Linux. There are some customers who has been traditionally using Solaris. They actually come into Exadata as with the Solaris operating system. Okay, so unique software optimizes database processing. Okay, so this slide is going to talk about some of the key features and some of the optimization that are actually available on Exadata. Okay, query offloading. Okay, so I was talking about something called intelligent storage, right? So intelligent storage is nothing but your database server was actually processing all the workloads, which includes I/O, computing, and all the processing. Now that's going to change a little bit. Okay, so what exactly is happening? What your storage servers were doing? Your storage servers. Okay, assume that it's a traditional model. You had a 2-node rack instance, a database computes engines, and then the storage was somewhere on a HP array. Now the storage out there is not intelligent in terms of what actually database needs. Okay, so we're going to very old because yesterday the backup page is kept in DL stack. Yesterday. Okay.
Why
Can
what?
you please go on mute, please? Can sir?
One second. One second.
Yeah. Thank you. So query offloading is something that we are going to learn how storage server is going to actually get benefited, or how storage server is going to handle this workload. Okay. When I say it's a quarter rack, assume that there are 2 database servers and 3 storage servers. Now your database whole processing is going to run on 5 servers actually, and that your storage server's computing engine or computing power is actually going to be benefited. The database is going to speak to your storage server and tell what and how the query has to be returned. So we're going to learn over the course of the session how that is done, and how Exadata is going to be useful in terms of
Hello.
offloading.
Tell me
Offload.
what.
Yeah, you have to go on mute, please.
Then.
Yeah. So then comes storage compression. Okay. So how much data you can store, and Oracle Exadata allows you to compress the data. Okay. So we're going to talk about how compression actually can benefit performance, and how Oracle is doing the compression at storage level. Okay, Meko. Yeah, no problem. So database optimized PCI flash technologies. So the flash technology. Yeah, so the flash technology is going to come in place, and that's going to help you to cache the database tables. Okay, so we're going to learn over the course some of the enhancements that are into the system. Okay, Exadata Intelligent Storage Grid. As I told, the Exadata compute engine was actually processing the data in our traditional system. So this is getting changed a little bit in Exadata. And your storage engine or your storage server is going to share the workload, so that your computing engine actually offloads some of the work to your storage. Actually, storage then process or runs the query on your behalf and gives what data actually needs to the compute servers. The compute server actually does further fine tuning and then gives your data back to you. So that's going to completely change the code. Some of the customer cases I've seen, some of the ETL workloads or the queryings which happened, they were running 2-3 hours. Once moved to Exadata, they were running in fraction of seconds because of various technologies used. It is offloading the work to storage, flash caching, and the computing power of the servers. Okay. So simple query example is something that I just talked about. These are some examples which we will be discussing in detail during the session. How actually data travels from your customer's application into the database Exadata server, and then goes into the storage. How it gets optimized. There is a small amount of algorithm actually runs within it, which actually makes just a request to the trainer, the host. Can you please find out and mute the audience? Yeah, thank you. Okay, so then over the course, we're going to talk about a lot of areas where your storage grid is going to help you to optimize the executions. Okay. Smart storage. There's a new concept called smart storage, which actually takes care of both the OLTP and the data warehousing workloads, and process it evenly, so that your OLTP workload does not gets affected with your data warehousing workload. We're going to see how that is done. We're going to see how resource manager can be built into the system, which actually helps you to achieve this. Okay. So many of your DBS might have been using Oracle database indexes, right? Now this index is completely different. This is Exadata storage indexes. This is something new. And what happens is, if you are a DBA, you should know exactly what is an index, okay? Or if you are not a DBA, index is something that which is going to help you or guide you to reach a destination. It's like a map, okay, offline map where it actually guides you, okay, to reach the data in a storage server. How efficiently you can reach the data. So once you hit the storage server and the database knows that I need to read 100 blocks to get my result. Okay. Now the traditional system will process those 100 blocks and give it to the storage server. Now on Exadata, this is going to be something different. Exadata is going to send, I need 100 blocks and I need these values from it. So what Exadata storage server is going to do is it is going to have its own indexes, and out of the 100 blocks, it is going to find out where exactly the database actually needs, what kind of data actually needs, and then it's going to optimize it and make into one block or two blocks. So it's going to give back to the database server one or two blocks which actually contains the actual data. Okay, in the traditional world, Oracle database server is supposed to process 100 blocks of the data and then get only the data what it needs. But in Exadata, the storage server is going to do some work and then give only those blocks which are required for the database engine. And the advantage of using storage indexes is completely automatic and transparent. And we'll talk about hybrid columnar compression, how this happens. Smart flash cache. Okay, what do you do with flash cache? Exadata gives you tremendous performance with smart flash cache if used in a right way. Okay, so when I say right way, there are read and write operations in any database server. So based on your requirement, Exadata smart flash cache can be used. If you are running OLTP environment, you can make it into a you can use a flash for writing. If it is a DWH, you can use for read and write as well. It completely improves the performance. Now comes resource management. How do you define resource management? Resource management is nothing but since Exadata is a consolidated environment, you will be having multiple databases running on an Exadata. So how do you make sure that these database gets high priority and some of the databases gets low priority? So we see here, database A actually takes very small amount of, takes 60% of the resource, ETL takes 40%, and database B takes 30% of IO resource and 70% of the batch processing. Some combination, some formulas. So in traditional world, we were able to achieve this only at the CPU level. You are not able to achieve at the storage level because the storage vendors are completely different. If database server is telling give 60% of the resource to this database, the storage server cannot understand this. But in Exadata, since the storage server and the compute servers, they speak the same language or they speak the same codes, they can transfer this information to your storage server and tell you 60% of the IO resource for reporting for database A. This is only possible in an engineered system. Okay. Security. The system is highly secured. When I say secured, there are some encryption, there is a defect detecting mechanism, and the administration is also the same traditional Oracle database administration, which actually helps you to run an optimized environment and a secured environment. It is also available as a database service. You can actually configure your Exadata as a database as a service. A very clear example in India, HDFC Bank runs Exadata, and they are actually running Exadata as a database as a service. If you are an account holder at HDFC Bank, your account is actually running on Exadata on database as a service. Database as a service is a new term in the cloud terminology. What does it mean? It means that on top of Exadata, you have another layer which actually tells the IT operations and the other groups which are around in the organization to actually consume the Exadata as a service. Right? When I say service, your IT organization may buy one Exadata and start billing your other internal organization internally. It's like a cost center factor. Okay, so you say sales is using this my Exadata 60%, manufacturing is using 20%, IT is using 10% of it. So you actually bill or meter the database what is running on Exadata, and you can actually do it. So when sales guy is paying 60%, you need to have a resource manager in place so that he gets what money he's investing in Exadata, right? Similarly, manufacturing is paying only 20% of the bill, so they will get only 20% of the performance out of the Exadata. So this is completely configurable in Exadata using a database service and IORM. So no performance bottlenecks for consolidated environments. You can run your mixed workload. You can run your ERP, your supply chain, data mart, your HR system, CRM in Exadata. There has been no performance problems. You can actually run mixed workloads. Okay, so I'm actually done with the intro sessions. I'll be happy to open up for any questions. I will come to the session again, the agenda again. So we will be covering an introduction, again similar slides, and then further detail into each of the components and each of the features, what is available in Exadata, overview of the architecture, database mission's key capabilities, what it can do. First you have to talk in as a DMA. If you present yourself in front of a customer, you should understand what exactly database database your Exadata is supposed to run. Okay, what are the key capabilities? Customer can put forth, I need my query to run in this amount of hours or this amount of minutes. I need a return, or I need to return this output. I need to get this workload processed in so many minutes, so many hours. So how do you do it? How do you achieve this? You need to understand the capabilities. Without understanding the capabilities, you cannot do it, right? You buy a car, and if it can clock 300 kilometers, yes, you have to know if the car can actually do it, and you need to know what key capabilities it has. Exadata Database Machine initial configuration. The first configuration, you cannot reconfigure Exadata again. You can do it, but it has to be rebuilt again, because you are actually purchasing an engineered system. You cannot change over the course of the years. Customer cannot make a change. So, for example, Oracle Linux to Oracle Solaris, customer cannot switch between operating systems. They have to stick around with one operating system. For an Exadata, if they want Solaris, they can buy another Exadata. Okay. Exadata database server architecture, storage architecture, InfiniBand architecture. These are some of the components in the Exadata. And then the features. We're going to talk about the features. Consolidation option. How do you consolidate all the database? You may be having 100 database running on your on-premise. How do you get one Exadata, put all the 100 database into it? What are the concept that you will be using? Okay. In 12c, there is something called pluggable databases. So you actually run one database and you plug all the 100 database into it. So it's practically possible. Migrating the database, which is very much important. Some of the customers are already running their estates of database. How do they get all the database into it? What kind of technology you can use? So we're going to deal in detail on building all these technologies, which one is best, which one has the best advantage, and all these factors. Platform monitoring. How do you monitor your Exadata? How do you use some of the Oracle provided tools and monitor Exadata? And how do you actually run command lines? What are the command lines options which are available, which you can use to query or monitor to understand your Exadata? How a DMA, as a DMA, how do you daily monitor it? How do you speak to your Exadata? Okay, how do you see what is the problem in your Exadata? How it is getting corrected automatically? Okay, how and then how do you monitor the other factors like InfiniBand network? Outside the Exadata, there are other components, rack switches, and all this. And the monitoring and then we are going to discuss about other monitoring tools. So we'll talk about how do you script a particular event. Let's say in Enterprise Manager there is a particular event which is not available, and your case is for your case you want to monitor a particular component. How do you do it? If it's not available in Exadata, how do you do it? Command line. Backup and recovery. How do you do backup and recovery of a database, and how do you recover it in Exadata? What are the challenges will be there? What kind of tools you have to use? Tasks, database maintenance task, patching, upgrade, scale-outs. How do you patch your environment? Oracle is releasing quarterly patches, and customer may ask you to, as a DMA, may ask you to upgrade this patch or install this patch. I guess how do you install the quarterly PSU patches, CPU patches, quarterly maintenance patches? How do you upgrade your system? Okay. Let's say your system came on 12C and you want to go to 18C, which is what Oracle is talking about today. And tomorrow in 2019 you will get a 19C database, 19C Exadata. How do you migrate? How do you upgrade your softwares? How do you patch your network, InfiniBand switch? How do you patch or upgrade your storage server? How do you upgrade or patch your compute nodes? All this patching, upgrade, all this can be done live. Customer will be using the system. Customer will not be having any downtime. All this patching, upgrade will be happening in a rolling fashion. When I say rolling fashion, one node will go down, the other will be up. How that is done in Oracle and in Exadata. We'll be learning in detail how to do a rolling patching or rolling upgrade. Scale out. Customer started with a quarter rack. Now customer is happy. They are interested to move to a full rack. How do they do it? So customer is already having a full rack. Now they want another Exadata. They want to add two Exadata, two rack. How do we club these two racks? How do we make two monster machines into a very big monster machine? Again, how do you make a 16-node rack environment in Exadata? We're going to talk about that. How do they cable each other? We're going to talk about how this is happening, what kind of measures will be done when re-racking happens. This is called re-racking. Scale-out is nothing but also involves re-racking. Re-racking in the rack terms, RACK terms, is adding the host into the existing rack. How do they do it on live? So there is an engineering guide for it. So you have to learn and understand step-by-step procedure how this is done, how a database will be scaled up. Okay. So any questions, feel free to post in the chat, or you can also ask in the forum.
Hello, hi Kumar. My name is Sikandar.
Yes, Sikandar.
Yeah, we just migrated, couple of months back, migrated the database from our on-premise to Oracle Exadata. The database size was around 40 terabyte, and after moving and through all the history processing, it's now increased to 60 terabyte. And when we did the migration from on-premise to Exadata, what the Oracle committed in terms of like what we discussed, smart scan, automatic indexing, those stuff, were not happening initially. So we had to do some kind of reconfiguration, like dropping indexes, that is at the query level, very deep level analysis, to favor the smart scan. Is it necessary to do for all the migration to favor the smart scan some kind of configuration change at the database level and those stuff?
Yeah. So actually, as such an Exadata workload, what Oracle is advertising is you can run your workload on your Exadata without any change. So they're not telling you you have to make a major change. So you can exactly onboard your RMAN backup. Okay, you take an RMAN backup of your system, and then you dump it into an Exadata. You create your database. You are up and running. Now, to use the key features, right? I was talking about key features. This is very, very important. You said you have to sacrifice some of the indexes. So that is the actual requirement of an Exadata. Exadata as such has the smart scan feature. If you want to use it, you have to sacrifice your index. What does it mean sacrifice your index? Let's say your table has 100 indexes. Okay. So
Correct.
what Oracle is promising is they will give a better performance. To achieve a better performance, they are asking you to move away from the traditional way of running a query, because they are giving you the storage server which is intelligent, and they do not want you to use the index to actually find out where is the block. So if you remove the index and just keep the table with maybe with 10% of the indexes, maybe the unique keys, that should be enough. And
Correct. Yeah.
removing the index actually will actually upscale your performance, and you will be, when you run AWR report on an Exadata with those 100 index and without with 10% of the index, you will be seeing those codes running into the benchmarking what Oracle is suggesting. So the reason why we had indexes, because traditionally we do not know how our storage servers were responding to us. So in order to reach a block, we need an index to support us,
Correct.
right? If I want to select in a table, I want to select an employee name equal to Kumar, then I need an index to actually reach to the storage server, retrieve that block, right?
Okay.
That block may be, because Oracle stores data, that block may be 10 to 15 blocks. But what happens in Exadata is, when I don't have any index, when I say select star from employee where name equal to Kumar, it actually offloads the workload to the storage server, and storage server actually returns only one block. And that is the reason Exadata is giving that giving the performance. If you have the index, to answer your question, it will not do it, because you are forcing your database to actually run in a traditional way of doing it.
Correct.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. One more thing. Since then, we migrated the database to Exadata. Of course, we have been seeing tremendous improvement in terms of performance for the reporting modules, like
Yeah.
which has the complex joins, those stuff. And if the query goes for 100% smart scan, and in fact, 4.5 terabyte of table gives the result in a second. I mean, 2 to 3 seconds. That is
Yeah.
obviously very good. And
How much was your, what was the throughput, or what was the what you have any benchmark numbers in your commodity
yeah,
server for the same?
yes. The thing is that before we migrate the database, what the business wants is to complete the nightly process as well as the reporting modules in a span of 6 hours. That is starting 12 midnight to morning 6. And
Okay.
before migration, it was running up to in fact 12 noon. That is almost 12 hours. And right
Okay.
after the migration, it has reduced to 9 hours. But then we had to do such configurations in terms of parallelism, favoring the smart scan. And when we
Yeah.
disabled the indexes, it had an impact on the DML operations of the nightly process. So
Hmm.
DML operation needs index, but reporting doesn't need index. So we had to
Yeah.
make the index invisible and create a login trigger for the DML ETL process to use the indexes to make index invisible equal to true, and we have to make it false for the other reporting modules. So we have been
Exactly.
seeing
So
good improvement, and
yeah.
we are still learning. I mean, this is something new to us since 2 to 3 months. We are putting lots of effort to understand what is exactly our Exadata needs, and we do
Yeah.
have platinum support. They are helping with all kind of information we need it, and still more.
Yeah. So any project wherever I have started or wherever I deal with customers, I actually have them start without indexes. Okay.
Oh,
And
okay.
then find out those indexes what is actually required. So now this gives you an opportunity. Now whatever exercise you have been doing all these 2 months, right? Identifying the index, making it invisible, and finding and making it visible. So now you have an idea, or you have you have a foot map which actually tells what exactly is the right path to get my data and what are the indexes required. So now you have to go and optimize, and actually Oracle is helping you to eliminate your unwanted indexes in Exadata.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
true.
when I
I've
say
been working
Exadata,
at
for
it.
the
Yeah.
2.5 terabyte table,
Yeah.
if you had 100 indexes, you may be having around 20 to 30 terabyte of the complete segment sizes for including tables and indexes. Without
Okay.
without your indexes, the table may be actually 2.5 terabyte and plus couple of terabytes, 1 or 2 terabyte for the indexes. So you actually save a lot of money for the storage.
Okay. We don't see the storage index is getting used. Can we see through that some execution plan that storage index is being used, just to confirm that? I have been trying to
Yeah.
see that index in the plan, the verifying the plan, but I don't see none of my query, to be honest, hitting that storage index so far. I something's missing. I don't know. I'm not sure about it. Is there anything that needs to be some additional configuration has to be done? I'm not sure.
No additional configuration. So in the practical sessions, in one of the session, we'll be covering why storage index is not getting used.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you
Fine.
will understand why it is not getting used, and how to make use of it.
Oh, fine. All right.
You have to basically make the object hot. So when you say hot, you repeatedly have to your system, right? If you have a dashboard, right, that
Yeah.
dashboard is going to be used by thousands of users. The particular query or the particular segment, what is coming out in the dashboard, is called the hot blocks. So once Oracle identifies this hot block, it will automatically do. As I told, storage index is automatic. The decision will be taken by storage server. A DMA cannot influence it, but he can make it happen. Okay, if it is really
Okay.
required.
Fine. Probably we'll talk about
So
it
you have
once
to
we
understand.
have. Yeah.
Yeah, once in the slide, during the course, you have to basically understand what is storage index, and you have to understand when it will be invoked, how Oracle decides that this particular block will be indexed. So those
Is
kind
it
of information is
necessary
really.
to have the unique SQL ID for to get the storage index created, or?
No, storage index creation, as I told, you have to make the object hot. So how do you make it? There are some techniques for it.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay, we'll talk about this later when we have that
Yes.
session.
Any other
All right.
questions?
Thanks, Kumar.
No problem. You can also put in the chat if you have any questions. I can also answer that. So one of the best thing that you will be getting over this training is real-time experiences. Okay, so I will be sharing most of my real-time experiences, and also the trainers also can also share their experience, and I can also help you or guide you to the next level, to take it to the next level. As the previous trainer, previous audience spoke, he had just using Exadata 2 months, and he has started to explore the features in Exadata, and he has several questions why it is not happening, and he's seeing the performance benefit, but he may not know why suddenly the query started running fast. Okay, if the customer says, let's say that the customer is asking, how come it is running fast in Exadata? Do you know how it is running? So as a DMA, we should be able to answer, yes, this query is using Smart Scan. This
Okay.
query is using storage scan. This query is getting optimized because of the storage server. Okay, Exadata is bundled with enormous computing power. Okay, it is bundled with enormous memory, enormous flash. How do you make use of flash? What are the different techniques you can make use of flash? Flash is something which is automatically used. Now I want to control the flash. Now I want to keep my data in the flash. How do you do it? So I've been a part of a project where we were doing OLTP transaction or DWH workloads. So the current month will always sit inside flash cache. And how do we achieve that? Instead of disk, it has to sit in flash cache. So a little configuration on the Exadata where we create a new disk group. The disk group will actually be sitting or created on the flash cache. So that's by default. Exadata comes with data and Rico. Now we created one more disk group called hot disk group or flash disk group that is basically built on not on storage hard disk. It's basically built completely on flash disk. Now how do we do that? And then your codes will run faster, much faster, because everything is sitting in flash. It is not sitting in cache. It is not sitting in storage server. Now how do we do that? How do we make those configuration or decide? How do we achieve those performance benefits? Okay. So any other questions? Okay, what about DR recovery capability with Exadata? Okay, so I will be giving architectural, during the architecture I'll be explaining how actually you place your DR. Okay, so let's say customer, what is DR? DR is something when there is a disaster, when there is an earthquake, when there is a fire in your data center, how do you have your system up and running? Okay, so the Exadata is not going to sit next to the Exadata what is running now. It has to be situated miles away in a new region, and then when there is a disaster, the database actually takes the application actually reconnects itself to the standby system or called the disaster recovery system. So for an Exadata, you need to have another Exadata which actually does that. Okay. Now customers may buy one Exadata and they may try to configure Exadata, the DR within that Exadata, which is actually not benefiting customer in any case, but they call it as DR. So DR classification itself is completely different. You need to buy two Exadata, which actually exact same configuration or a lower configuration, and then use it. Now, how do you make use of an DR-based Exadata, right? You are having an engineered system. How do you make, or customer has invested money in it, how do you make that efficient? So I'm going to give you tips or use cases. We can run backups. Okay, we can run reporting on the DR system. We can host all the non-production out there. So I'm going to give you some tips during the architectural review. Okay, another question. Is there any limitation of ERP and database on full rack? No, absolutely no limitations to my knowledge. You can consume the entire rack instance. Or if it is e-business suite or SAP, you can consume all of the full rack which is available. You can basically build an entire cluster of rack. Okay, I'm also going to share about how do customers actually re-rack themselves. Okay, today customer bought an Exadata 5 years back. Okay, now customer wants to buy today's new generation Exadata. Now they need a migration expert, or they need an expert guy who actually knows how to assemble both of these Exadatas. Let's assume customer has bought half rack. The rest of the half rack is empty. When I say half rack is RACK. Okay. So how can you bring in the new system and then plug into that empty space, and how do you configure it? And post configuration, how do you actually make use of them? I'm going to give live examples which has happened, which I have worked on several projects where we have done scale outs with different generation of Exadata, X3 and X7. How this both can be clubbed together, and how do you make use of them? Okay, any more questions? How to store data in Exadata? Okay, so the data store is actually the storage server. Everything gets stored in the storage server. Each storage server comprises of, is actually a compute server. It has hard disk attached to it. And the most famous concept inside Oracle database is Oracle ASM, An Oracle ASM is going to manage and store the data inside the storage server. And ASM is a wonderful tool that database world as the Oracle database world is having. It has a lot of capabilities. Okay, and if you use it in the right way, you can have your data secured. In Exadata, in the traditional world, if you are using ASM, each disk is a you can configure each disk as a failure group. Again, I will repeat, each disk as a failure group. In Exadata, each storage server is a failure group. So we're going to see how that is actually configured. When I say each storage server is a failure group, you can switch off one of the storage server, and there will be no disturbance to your running system. You can remove that server. You can do any kind of storage, any kind of server administration, changing, cleaning it, annual maintenance, changing the network card or anything, and then power it on, and you can start working on the next storage server. Battery replacement is one of the commonly done task every quarter or every half a year. How do they do it? The engineer will come in. They will not call they will not call the database guy. They will not tell. They no need to tell anybody out there, because they can actually pull out one of the storage server, and this is happening live for thousands of customers who have purchased Exadata. Live changes happens on the system. So we are going to see about how these changes are happening. What are the key things that has to be done? How do you, let's say you are somewhere sitting remotely and you are monitoring these things happening. How do you monitor whether things have been done properly? Let's say you do not have access to the data center. How do you check it from your offshore setup or your IT department? How do you check it from there? What are the commands that you need to run? Okay, any more questions? Thank you. Thank you to all for your time, and I hope we will meet again, and I will share the best of what I have. Yeah, thank you.